Conservatives have been winning time and time again in provincial elections throughout the past few years. The difference between your campaign and theirs is that you've been appealing to socialists in the NDP party. Do you regret doing that, not running really as a conservative? Keean Bexte here for The Rebel in St. John's, Newfoundland at the Progressive Conservative election night party. It's not quite a victory party anymore. The Progressive Conservative Party lost their bid to form government to unseat a first-term Liberal government, something that has never been done and doesn't look like it's going to be happening today. What did happen is the Liberal government was brought down from a majority to a minority government. Now this Progressive Conservative Party is conservative in pretty much name only. They ran on a campaign trying to court NDP voters, trying to court socialist voters to their party. They ran on $25 a day daycare, which is identical to the governing Liberals. They kicked out a social conservative, quote unquote, candidate in Labrador for simply sharing a news article from a pro-life news site. I'm going to go into the crowd and ask the folks here if they supported the very left-wing campaign that the PCs ran here. I'm going to see if they regret it and what they're going to do going forward. Lots are saying that the PCs here ran on the most left-wing platform of any Conservative party in the country. They ran on $25 a day daycare, they kicked out a social Conservative candidate, and they tried to appeal to NDP voters. Was that a good strategy at the end of the day?
Absolutely. With respect to the childcare policy, childcare is so important for a good economy. How can you get more women in the workforce if you don't have affordable childcare? And the theme of our campaign was making life more affordable for Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. And that's a value that all conservatives and progressive conservatives across the country share. Whether it was hydro rates, making them more affordable, making childcare more affordable, lower taxes, these are values all conservatives share, and Ches Crosbie was pushing for and will continue to fight for in the legislature.
Were you on board with this plan to run sort of left of what a typical conservative would run on in Canada?
Oh, well, I think that, anytime you have federal and provincial politics, there are sort of variations and different sort of feelings that are, of course, manifested by the people in the area. I'm trying to best represent the demographic that exists in my specific area. I represent a very small amount of people and only one of many, many PC candidates. And, this is a democracy and I feel that we need candidates in numbers and of all types of views. A healthy democracy runs on sort of keeping people in check and testing their moral values. So that's something that I absolutely encourage.
They ran on a platform that lots are saying is the most left-wing platform of conservative, any party bearing the conservative name in the country.
Yeah.
Do you think that has something to do with it?
No, I don't. I like I said, I think it was a case of the Liberal government kind of catching the opposition, both us and the NDP, kind of with our pants down, not with enough financial resources in place, not with enough professional campaign managers, etc. We needed more time. And give Dwight Ball credit for striking while the iron was hot. He did the smart move politically. But, it's a minority government, and we know what that means. That means that the government is set to fall on almost any vote. So we could be back doing this again in November.
Do you want to see Crosbie stay as leader?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I think he deserves that. He won the leadership. He won his own seat. And I don't have any problem with Mr. Crosbie as leader.
Are you concerned with the fact that Newfoundlanders all share individually $30,000 in debt?
Absolutely. It's a huge concern about the deficit. And what we've seen over the last 4 years is Dwight Ball has no plan to tackle it. I look forward to getting back into the legislature and seeing what his plan will be, and the new opposition, who are going to be the majority, standing up and saying, we need a plan to fix this deficit and not to pass it on to our children and grandchildren.
Now, Ches Crosbie walked in a little bit unannounced. I think people were a bit surprised. They started cheering, and then he moved quickly into the event room where he began speaking to an empty room, empty except for media. Here's a clip from that.
But the people of this province have expressed their dissatisfaction with the Ball Liberal drift, indecision, and lack of direction. The Ball Liberals are on their way out. The tide is receding, and I am not conceding victory to the Liberals. They will have to struggle for the next months and years.
After he wrapped up his speech, media quickly surrounded him. I got in a few questions. Here's what I asked. Conservatives have been winning time and time again in provincial elections throughout the past few years. The difference between your campaign and theirs is that you've been appealing to socialists in the NDP party. Do you regret doing that, not running really as a conservative?
Look, I'm running as a Newfoundlander and Labradorian and representing the majority sentiment. What happened here tonight is the government using every potential advantage that they had to undercut the democratic process.
Do you think that your flip-flop on kicking out a social conservative candidate hurt your credibility?
That was not a flip-flop.
What was it?
It was an affirmation of the values of the people of Newfoundland and Labrador, and that they do not want discussion of and the implication that there could be any challenge to the social settlement on issues like abortion and gay marriage and the like.
Conservatives have been winning time and time again in Canada over the past few years, but in Newfoundland, they couldn't pull it off. Why was that? Well, I think it's because conservative voters don't reward conservative parties who act as liberal light. Again, the Progressive Conservative Party here is very proud of their progressive heritage. They ran on $25 a day daycare. They really didn't talk about solving the debt problem, $30,000 to each individual Newfoundland and Labradorian. That's what they owe. They kicked out a social conservative for wrongthink, and they've been appealing to socialists in the NDP. Socialists. That's what they're trying to bring into the progressive conservative fold here in Newfoundland and Labrador. I say this election has been bungled, and it's been bungled because there was no Conservative Party running in this election. For the Rebel.media in St. John's, Newfoundland, I'm Keean Bexte. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed our coverage here in Newfoundland. If you did, be sure to go to www.rebelinvestigates.com. You can pitch in there to help cover my costs if you would. The flight to Newfoundland wasn't cheap, but it was great to be able to cover it and really understand why the progressive, quote-unquote, conservatives lost this election. It's because, well, surprise, surprise, they weren't running as conservatives.